The next thing we're going to talk about are shoulder aerials. Shoulder aerials are your traditional, some might call these Statue of Liberties. These are aerials thrown with the right hand, coming from a right shoulder position. So let's break this technique down. What we're doing, assuming we're starting from a regulation version of right shoulder, we could also start from any of the vertical positions that we discussed in the previous videos. What we are going to do is break this into two distinct motions. The first motion is the prep, and the second motion is the actual toss. And what we're going to find out in doing this is that we're really not tossing the rifle, it's kind of an illusion, and I'll show you the breakdown. So, we start at right shoulder arms. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to allow the rifle by pulling backwards with the hand and reaching forward with my left hand. We're going to allow the rifle to rock off the shoulder until we're in a vertical position. That vertical position is going to find our left hand grasping just below the ring of the sling. Now, at this point, our hand is in position just like at right shoulder arms. We have our finger in front, 3 fingers underneath, and we have contact with the thumb and the index finger. And this is really going to be where we toss from. Now, when we do this, we don't want to hyperextend and lock out our elbow and cause our shoulder to move forward. All we want to do is get the arm pretty straight without actually hyperextending and locking. From here, the easiest way to explain and break this down, especially for new drillers who might be scared of tossing the rifle and catching it, the easiest way to explain it is to take our left hand and invert it, grab it with the palm facing forward and the thumb facing down in the middle of the rifle, and holding the rifle in this position and just allowing the wrist to kind of turn, we can pull back with this finger, and we see that the rifle does a 180-degree turn, and we can grasp it right in the middle of the upper handguard with our right hand. So when we're getting comfortable, the first thing we're going to want to do is practice the prep, grab the rifle in the center, and pull back. We want to get used to pulling back at different speeds so that our hand is used to meeting the rifle at that position at the middle of the handguard. As we get comfortable with this, as we pull back, we're then going to allow our other hand, our left hand, to pull away from the rifle. So as we are working through this, we have prep, grab it in the middle, pull back, and then once we get comfortable with that, prep, grab in the middle, pull the arm away. This is the first catch that we're going to get comfortable with. Now, once we have that motion with the finger pulling back and the arm pulling back, the elbow is leading and pulling away. Once we're comfortable with that motion, we can start to actually toss the rifle. And we're going to start by catching it low at first. We're going to start at the right shoulder position. We're going to prep to our hand just below the band, arm not hyperextended, rifle straight up and down position. And as opposed to grabbing and pulling and letting the hand do the work here, now what we're going to do is we're going to pull back and we're going to lift up slightly, and we're just going to get comfortable with that. We're just going to get comfortable with the idea that the rifle is leaving the hand and we're catching the rifle in the middle of the upper handguard. Again, we just need to work through that slowly so we develop the hand-eye coordination and the comfort level to understand how much pull is necessary. And as we're doing this, we're going to learn a couple of different things. If we find that the rifle is twisting, right? That means that we're doing something with our wrist and our hand to twist the rifle as it comes back. So what we need to make sure of is we're pulling straight back, kind of pulling behind our body directly to make sure that the rifle does not do that twist. If the rifle is going too far forward and we're not able to grab the handguard, we're probably pulling the rifle too far back and not lifting up just that little bit that's required. So watch this again. We're at right shoulder, we prep, and we toss. Once we're comfortable with this, and by comfortable I mean we can have a reasonable control of the rifle, we can pin our other hand while it's happening, then we can talk about how do we raise the height up so we get that characteristic Statue of Liberty look. So from here, once we have that comfort level, we're going to do the exact same motion, but we're going to apply a little bit of upward force. We're going to come up through the armpit, and when we pull backwards, we're going to do so a little bit higher so that the rifle's center of rotation is above our shoulder when we let go. So when we do this, we prep, we lift, and we're going to lift until the rifle's about above our shoulder, and then and only then are we going to pull backwards and extend the arm with the goal of catching the rifle in the middle of the handguard with our arm up at about a 45-degree angle. So that looks like such. When we do this, at first it might be a little bit difficult to stick the rifle straight up and down, and that's fine. We might have a little bit of wiggle. That's fine and that's normal. We need to spend some time getting comfortable with the idea of raising up above the armpit and pulling backwards towards our ear, and that's going to give us that nice full extension. Now there is a moment in time when if we lift up, then we pull back. Again, it's a lift and a pull. When we do those two motions simultaneously, there is a really nice point where the rifle is going to hover exactly in our field of vision, and we're going to be able to reach out and extend towards that rifle in order to make the catch. And we'll just need to play with some variables. How fast do I spin the rifle? Oh, a little bit too fast, right? How high do I lift? Oh geez, that's way too high, right? So we need to play with those two variables. How fast do I pull? How high do I lift? Now, as soon as we have caught the rifle, prep, catch. We can reform from this catch in several different ways. The easiest way is simply to bring the rifle down, bring it on the right side of our body, grasping the balance point with our left hand, drop to a position very similar to our boxes, and just like our 3 count or our 4 count, reform from that position. We can also do a little bit of a twist to bring it back to the right shoulder, which is pretty neat. We can prep, toss. We're going to pull the rifle down just like we did before, but instead of grabbing here with this hand facing backwards, we're going to invert our grip one more time. We've kind of practiced this with the breakdown. Palm out, thumb down to the left hand, grasp in the middle of the rifle with that left hand. We're going to kind of turn the rifle so the butt plate comes down in a counterclockwise motion to the driller. Grab the butt of the rifle back at the shoulder position, and from here, we can come back to right shoulder. So all together, prep, toss, look and see where that palm is going. It's got to go forward. Grab that rifle, twist down, redrive, and cut. And those are two basic ways that we can reform from that catch position. So that is the right shoulder toss, the single right shoulder toss. Some would call it a half right shoulder toss because it's only doing about a half of a rotation before we catch the rifle. We're going to refer to it as a single because we're about to learn the 1.5 and then the double next.